Welcome to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report, the only show that provides you with the best insight and information to everything Franklin County sports. And now here's your host, Bobby C.
And hello and welcome to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. I'm Bobby C. Want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving, and I hope that you all can have a wonderful holiday with your family and friends. And just remember to be thankful for the great blessings that we have. And one of the blessings that I'm very excited about is having the crew here from Frontier Regional's volleyball team. And like I said, it's a crew. We have 7 of the teammates, and we also have Coach Sean McDonald here. Want to say a big thank you to our crew here today. We have John Meisner, Allie Murphy, also Philippe Simone, and Ian is here as well. And I want you to know that we have been very blessed to be able to share a team that has done some pretty amazing things down there in South Deerfield over the last decade and a half to even 2 decades. This guy has just done an amazing job having his team prepared each and every year to be able to not only represent their school, but also to be able to represent themselves. And I got to tell you, 90% of these kids that are on this program are also very good students too. So there's a lot of wonderful things that comes with this program down there in South Deerfield. I also want to say a quick thank you to our sponsors here today, the 4-Leaf Clover Restaurant in Berniston, Denny's Pantry, Berniston Road in Greenfield, Lisa Albert of Albert Hearing Services, 33 Riddell Street in Greenfield, and also by Hubie's Tavern and Restaurant, Avenue A in Turners Falls. Well, let's get started. Coach Sean McDonald, welcome, my friend.
Thank you, Bobby. Thanks for having us here.
Coach, you have had such blessings to have what you have down there in that wonderful town of South Deerfield with this group of girls and many other groups of girls that have come through your program.
Yeah, you mentioned Thanksgiving. I'm blessed to be able to coach these young women and a lot of them, a lot of great young women before them. It makes my job so much easier. Like you said, they're great students. Most of them are on the honor roll. And when you're dealing with smart kids in practice, it makes practice go a little bit better when you're trying to talk about some strategies and plans. But I'm really lucky to be able to coach there and to coach these guys every day.
When you think about it, people are looking at the stats that are from other teams, and they're looking at the bracket and the MIA website, and they see Frontier Regional 14-8. And people are like, oh, they lost 8 times. Guess what, folks? They don't know. Yeah. Let's talk about how you set up your independent program compared to your league program, who you take on, and why you put these girls into those positions.
Well, we do it to intentionally struggle. I compared it at the banquet last night to lifting weights, which I should get in the gym and do more of. But are you going into the gym to intentionally struggle to try to get stronger? And so I think that, our league, we play in a league with 4 out of the 5 best teams in Western Mass. It's intentionally put together to put the best teams in one league so they can play each other. So that's our league schedule is really tough. Our crossovers are pretty good. And then we go out and intentionally try to find some of the best teams in the state. We play Westboro, the 2017 state champ. We play Melrose. I think they were in the state finals a year or 2 ago. We play Hopkinton, Division I state champ, finalist a couple years ago. Division II state champ before that when they got realigned. We go out. We're not trying to have an undefeated season. That's not the goal. The goal was to play last weekend on November 16th and not to be undefeated, but to be undefeated in the month of November. So that was our goal, was we're going to try to be prepared so that when we play Division III teams, which we are, that we're not going to see anything new in Division III that we haven't seen against some of the best Division II and Division I teams in the state. And I feel like we're prepared most of the time when we get to the tournament.
It's funny. You ever hear Dickie V? He'll tell you that Cupcake City is not the way to go. Yeah. He says, when you want to play Cupcake City, you're going to end up going into the tournament not prepared. This is how you prepare the girls to be able to be better, because they're playing better competition. And then when you go back and you roll tape from some of these games, you can sit down and point out exactly what some of those weaknesses are.
Right. Yeah, and we've had years in the past, probably close to 10 years ago now, that Our first really tough match was the state semifinal, and that's a tough time to find out how you're going to react to adversity. Okay, so we had a few years where 21-1, and the one was the last one. And it got to the point where I'm like, I'm not doing that. We are going to find out where we are, where we have practice the next day, when we can fix it, not when we're collecting uniforms the next day because we lost and our season's over. So yeah, we play a tough schedule, and we were 12-8 when we were seeded into the tournament. So yeah, we do it every year. We built up the program to the point where there's teams around the rest of the state that are, what I call elite,
right,
and they want to play us.
Right.
And that wasn't the case 15 years ago.
But your locals and everybody here in Western Mass already knows that 8 losses doesn't mean anything because they know what you do. It's the people that are going on the website when you guys are going into a state tournament that don't really know a lot about you guys and said, oh, how did they get into the state semifinals with 8 losses? Right. Well, okay, wait till you meet Frontier, because here the ladies come. So let's talk about these wonderful 7 ladies that are sitting here on stage, Coach. And I'm going to let you talk a little bit about each and every one of them, and maybe we can ask them each a question, and they can be able to share some of their stories with us.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got Jalen Sullivan over here on the right, a captain, senior, and Riley Isler. She's our libero. So Jalen is an outside hitter. And Riley is that person that looks like she forgot her shirt and had to wear the wrong colored one, because she's our libero that wears the different colored shirt.
Yeah.
We have Abby Roberts. I call her our Swiss Army knife. That she's kind of our
little help of everything.
A little bit of everything.
She's got a little bit of all. That's good, because you need people like that.
Absolutely, and you can put her in a whole bunch of different places wherever we need her. Over here we got Jillian in the back, freshman, middle hitter, and then Olivia Dean, outside hitter, and then Sydney Scanlon, freshman setter, and then next to her is our other setter, Olivia Rosewarn, who's a junior.
Well, the thing is I didn't hear many seniors here. So the bottom line is everybody's coming back for some fun next year.
Yeah, we have 2 seniors, and we have the majority of the team coming back.
You got the majority of the team coming back. And I was looking at a lot of these schools right now, ladies, and all the sports that we have for female sports. A lot of the younger kids are really starting to perform. I'm really impressed with this younger generation of athletes. I mean, I was taking a look, and I was looking at Greenfield girls field hockey, for an example. And, looking at Turner's field hockey, Allie's the only senior that's leaving Turner's field hockey this year. There's a lot of kids that are all young that are getting prepared at a really young age. Sean, you must be very impressed with seeing what kind of work ethic these kids can be able to have by the time they get to be juniors and seniors.
Absolutely. It's not easy to play for Frontier Volleyball. We practice a lot. We practice. We go all over the state playing with long bus rides. Our league, most of our stuff is an hour away. So there's a big time commitment, and they do a nice job of balancing school. But you have a lot of kids that would rather sit home and play video games, or when these guys are out, playing some really good teams, and I consider every match that we have as like a test. And not only is it a test, but we invite the public to come watch us struggle to take a test. And that's not always easy for young kids. They don't like to, they want to look good, they don't like to make mistakes, and they don't like to make mistakes in public places where you expose yourself to criticism. So it's hard, and I think they do a good job of it. And like I said, they're smart, and they're just a great group of young women.
They really are. And this is the big question I have, ladies. Think about this. 15 years ago, you guys were running around as very young ladies, okay? That means that's how many years that this team has won a Western Mass championship in a row. So if you're a kid who has family and friends that are Frontier faithfuls, and you guys went and watched over the years, you watched all the way through your whole life watching a bunch of winners. Isn't that the truth? It's amazing to me, Sean, that it happened this way 15 years in a row and counting.
It amazes me sometimes too. I think some people think it's easy, and it's just not. And these guys don't know the amount of work that went into this year. Because like you said, we don't have a lot of seniors. Last year we had 5.
You did?
It was 5 out of our 7 starters. and you lose those. And you take a pretty good hit as far as skill and experience, and even senior leadership. So we had to fill all those voids, and even winning Western Mass is not a given ever, especially this year with so many new adjustments. Jalen playing significant time for the first time. She's playing outside hitter this year. She's played on the right side. She's played middle hitter in the past. And so for me, it's kind of start with a blank sheet of paper, and it's like, here's my pieces, and what am I going to do? How can we arrange ourselves to be the most efficient and be able to put the best product out on the court that can be successful?
Well, first of all, it takes a total team effort to make it work. You can't just have 2 or 3 stars and not call it the day. You need all 7 to work hard. And whatever you guys have to do out there to make it work, it's about communication. Would you say communication is probably the biggest thing for you guys to work with each other when you're out there, is being able to communicate with each other so you're not getting in the way of each other? Because, that ball's coming at you hard. Let's talk a little bit about that. Somebody want to speak? Okay.
Yeah, communication is huge. I think volleyball is one of those sports where you can't really just have one good player and be a good team, because you have to have 3 contacts on the ball. Like, everyone's going to touch it at some point. So communication is key, like you said, like nonverbal and verbal. I think that really makes our team strong, especially in that state final game. We were playing a lot of defense. I think those nonverbal cues really carried us, and just being confident with your teammates, like, hey, I'm going to get this and you're going to get that, and having that trust in each other. I think that's also part of communication that really has carried us through the season and made us a good team.
Olivia, another thing too is the fact that, you also have to try to stay healthy. That's the key too. Injuries can be a really bad situation for teams. So let's talk a little bit about how the health was for you guys this year.
So we definitely had our own complications. We didn't really have any injury situations, but towards, especially come tournament time, we had a kind of a plague go through our team a little. And that was definitely challenging, because it was then like a lot of us couldn't go to practice. But I think what was really special about that was everyone kind of stepped up. If someone wasn't there in practice, the next person on the line was like really eager to get on the court, and they really wanted to play. And during games, we were able to get like new people in, and everyone just really stepped up and took their own part if someone was unable to do so.
It was sad, because I was looking at this past weekend, Coach, Joe Chadwick was dealing with the situation with his girls for cross country. They ended up going into the state tournament, and 3 of them got sick with the flu for a week. And trying to get your health back when you're a runner, and trying to get that, they really struggled in the States. They had a really tough time because of the health issues.
Such bad timing.
Terrible timing. And Coach Joe even said the timing couldn't have been worse.
Right.
And
that's just, what can you do? You can't do much about it. It's just horrible timing and bad luck. We were fortunate enough that we had a few little hiccups, and I know Jalen wasn't feeling well in the state semifinals, and Abby wasn't feeling well in the state semifinals, and just one person. It changes so much of what we do, So we have kind of some regular substitutions that we do, and in my mind, I'm like, I don't know if Jalen's going to be able to finish the match. Excuse me. And so, if I have to substitute for Jalen, one of the people I want to substitute is already in the game. So I actually held out somebody to not play, because I can't just move her. It's not like basketball. Like, the substitution rules in volleyball are pretty strict. So if you're in the game and I sub in for you, you're sitting on the bench now. The only person you can come in for is me.
Oh.
Okay? You can only come in for me. So you can't come in for anybody else. So I can't just say, it's kind of like changing your batting order. I can't say, okay, you're batting 5th and I want you batting 3rd. So it's, it changes a lot of stuff. And, you're holding out a player, because you might have to play for Jalen as an outside hitter when I have you playing as an opposite, subbing in for one of our setters. And if everything goes right, you don't play.
Wow.
And so, there was Morgan, who's not here right now, really kind of took one for the team. Ended up getting the game-winning kill.
She did.
It looks like, okay, Jalen looks like she's going to make it another 20 minutes now. And so.
Yes, I remember that.
But it changes a bunch of stuff, and in the calculation, and people don't see it. But there's a lot of that with it's not just a sprained ankle, and just one person can change a whole bunch of things in the whole lineup. So.
One of the teams that has always been feisty for you guys, and it seems like every year you guys seem to be visiting each other lately, is Lee. And Lee High School is pretty darn good. And they're starting to make a mark of themselves up there in the Berkshires as one of the teams that's pretty good at volleyball. Normally, when you think of the Berkshires, as Coach will probably tell you, and neither some of you girls, basketball is where we usually think of Berkshire teams. We think of the basketball sport. But for them to really do as well as they've done in volleyball has really been pretty special. And how are you enjoying this new rivalry now in Division III with Lee High School? Anybody?
I think that it is really helpful for us to have really strong competition in our division and around us. Lee is a team that we've always really respected. They've always been such hard workers, and they've been putting in the effort, especially in the last couple of years, to become really honest competitors and some really strong competition for us. And I think it definitely makes us better to be able to have a team like that to play close to home in our division that we know we're probably going to end up seeing in the final like we have in the past years, and I think a lot of years before that.
Yeah, they really have been able to put themselves out there now, Sean, where 10, 15 years ago, they were truly just about a basketball school, really, for girls. Yeah, and you heard of Lee girls basketball, and that was the big deal. Now it's about volleyball.
Yeah, their volleyball team is definitely strong. They're the cream of the crop in the Berkshires, and the Berkshires have some pretty strong Division III volleyball teams. Lennox is pretty good, and Mount Greylock is good, and Wacona. So, they play themselves in that Berkshire League quite a bit and beat up on each other. But Lee, it's definitely made a big improvement, and they certainly push us. We play them once a year in the regular season.
I saw that, yeah.
And it was our senior night this year, and but we've gone up to Lee and we've lost in 5, and Lee's come to us and beat us in 5, and so it's nice to see them in the regular season, and we both get a look at each other and kind of see what we need to fix before we play each other in the playoffs. But they're definitely good.
They are. I thought it was pretty different for what we normally see from Frontier, because every time we always think of Frontier, they bring the crowd. Well, in the semifinals, you guys took on the good old math. The Math Academy decided that they were going to bring a couple of busloads full of fans. And even Coach said that he was thinking about maybe seeing if he could barter a few of those folks to come cheer you guys on for the state championship. Let's talk about what it was like in the atmosphere that night.
I love the crowd, honestly. We don't get a big crowd at Frontier. A lot of people don't come to our games, but having that fan section, they weren't cheering against us, they were just cheering, and we were winning. So them cheering and us winning, it helped, honestly. I don't think it brought us down, if anything.
Well, I think it was special for them, too, for them to be in the position that they were in, guys, and I know Coach will vouch for that. I think it was a big deal for them as well to be in that position,
And I think, I think that's the difference that Jalen was alluding to. When Advanced Math and Science, AMSA, they're playing their first, their first Central Mass win, and then to play in the semifinals, is special. And unfortunately, I feel bad for some of these guys. And they don't have as much support as I'd like to see from the students, because it's 15 years in a row, ho-hum, boring, you do this all the time. And I'm like, I just man, the amount of work that these guys do.
It doesn't make sense to me, because I've always believed that people like winners. People like winners.
Yeah.
So, championship. I need to talk to somebody about championship day against a team that you guys just went back and forth, back and forth. Let's talk about it.
I think that it was wait, can you repeat the question? Like,
Yes, on your championship day for state
Rockland.
championship against Rockland, everything seemed to be back and forth, back and forth. You guys, you battled the whole 5 games. Let's talk
in
about
the
it.
sets that we lost, we definitely were like, we can come back from this. And I think that the score really showed it, that we were down a lot. But I think that the most important thing was we knew we could do it. And we always, after we lost a set, we always came back. We were like, we have had the experience of losing, and we haven't come in a 5-set match that whole regular season. And so, we had experience losing against that team, against other teams, and I think knowing the environment of losing and then coming back was really important. Anybody else?
Yeah, so my grandfather, after the match, he told me, in that first set, it looked like David and Goliath. You guys looked really awful. And I was like, oh, thanks a lot. But really, we got crushed in that first set, and I was a little concerned. But I never lost faith. I mean, I was really confident that we were going to come back, but I knew that we needed to win that next set so that we knew that we could beat them, because in the first set, they have a 6'2" middle who looks like she could just crush us. And we needed to know that we can play good defense and we can come back and beat them. And I think winning that second set was really essential to us knowing that we can pull out this win, we can take them to 5 sets, and I'm just really proud of the relentless volleyball that we played. It was a really great game, probably one of the best games we played all season, and I talked with the girls from Rockland afterwards, and they said, yeah, if we were going to go down, that's how we wanted to go down. It was one of the best games we played all season, and yeah, I'm just so glad that it was a really good game for us to win. It felt even better than just pulling out an easy 3-set win.
Oh my God, I'm looking at the scores and I'm like, wow, you guys were like, I mean,
I know, man. I joked, they were like, before I started coaching teenage girls, I had hair and I was thin,
But I got to tell you, it was really, really intense. That was an intense state Division III championship, really was. And congratulations to you guys for pulling off the victory. I mean, it was very just exciting just to see the stat line, I'm going to talk to you for a minute because I have a question. What is the one key to being able to get to the point that this program has got to that has been an experience for you?
Well, I think every day in practice, just working really hard and trying to get a little bit better at one specific thing, or just owning in on a few things each practice to get better on really helped us, especially when we knew what we were struggling with from the past games.
Well, one thing that people need to realize is that, it's a fresh new start of kids each and every time. So it's not like it's the same for the last 15 years. It's the same team, and you got to knock off. It's a fresh group of people that come through the system here. So you have to work together to make it work. But it sounds like this is what I said about you all in the beginning. You're all very smart girls. You all are very smart in the classroom. So you know how to be coachable. That's a great word. You feel that you're coachable?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty
I
good.
think you are. I think you are too. And I think that that's important. I look at the younger girls, the one that's next to Olivia there. What's her name? I'm sorry.
Sydney.
Sydney Scanlon. I've been mentioning you a lot this year. Listen, you got a bright future ahead of you, my dear, and you're part of that younger group. You are going to be the future leaders of this program. So now is your chance to be able to sort of learn a lot more from these older girls so that you can be able to take and you can be able to bring it to the table for the next group. Let's talk about how your experience has been so far.
Yeah, so it was pretty nerve-wracking at first, like my first year on the varsity team, but all the older girls were really welcoming to me and Jillian, and we really just fit in well, and we just worked hard every day, and we knew that we were going to make mistakes, so once we made one, just knowing that it was okay, next time I'll do it right, it just really helped, and just knowing that we can do it, I think really helped us.
Coach said it best at the top of the show. He said, listen, I don't want to be going into the state tournament undefeated. I want to be able to know where this team stands. So we're going to take on competition that we normally aren't going to like. So what was it like playing some of those Division I schools like the Long Meadows locally and in the Minichogs and those types of teams that are around?
I think it was like scary at first seeing how good they are, but like I said, just knowing that we can do it and just staying focused and keep trying, even if we're losing, just keep going for it.
If there was one thing that you could take away from this season, what would it be? I'll let each and every one of you give me your answer. I would love to hear it from each and every one of you. What was the one thing that really sticks in your mind of what really, even if it's repeated by three of you of the same answer, I don't mind. I just want to know what you took away from this year, from the way everything went from the beginning to the end.
Yeah, I think what to me like stood out the most this year was that every day I was just really, really excited to go to practice. That doesn't happen with all sports and all teams, and it hasn't happened every year. But with this team, like we all just genuinely love each other so much, and we love spending time with each other. That every day I was just like I was able to wake up and be like, I have volleyball today. Like today's gonna be a good day.
That is awesome.
I think that the thing that most sticks with me about this team is just like the grit and the support that like we all have for each other, and just coming into every practice and every game knowing like every single person on the floor and on the bench has my back. And I know like playing on this team for a couple years, it isn't always like that, and you don't always have a team that is so cohesive like we have been this year. And I think that's one thing that really helped us be super successful this year, especially in the tournament season.
Absolutely.
So basically everything they said.
No, that's good.
But
That's
I
good.
also think we always work super hard, which made practice go by really fast. Like normally it would go by, well, in the past it had gone by slower. And I don't know why, but this year it would always went by super fast, which means we were really focused the whole time. We were always working really hard. Also, from the beginning of the season, it went like 0 to 10. Like we improved so much this season. Like the most that I've ever seen a team improve in 3 months. So I'm really proud that we improved that much. Because if we played like we did in the beginning of the season, we wouldn't have won 12 games. Or no,
14. Yep.
14.
It was really 16.
We ended 17 and 8.
17 and 8.
17.
Right, because you went in, because like I said, when you guys were going into that tournament, they were looking at those losses and said 8. All people look at when they go onto the websites is they want to see what the records are. Isn't it the truth? Yeah. So when they saw an 8 there, they automatically perceived that you guys were pushovers.
Yeah. Well, if you look at the points from all the sets too, it's not like we like lost all those games really badly, especially like the Westboro one. Each set we lost by 2 points, which
it's true.
Is very close.
Which is the exact opposite of what we did in the state final.
Yeah,
that's very true. It's true. You did.
So
you guys were the ones that won by the 2 points that got you guys those.
There
wins.
wasn't a single game all season that we got our butts kicked.
There you go.
And that's awesome.
How about you, my dear?
I would say that I agree with everything that everyone has said so far, and I think that this team, especially since we're so young, that this team is like no other team for the past years. And I think that it really showed in the tournament season that nothing was holding us back from winning. Nothing was holding us back from not being successful during sets. And I think that really showed during states when it was going back and forth. And I think that was the most important, was that we all kept saying the time is now. It's now to do it. We just have to do it, or our season would end there.
You know, the one thing I can say, and you're going to agree with me, is you didn't give up. And that's why you won the state championship. Yeah. You were down. You were up against the ropes. But you didn't let them knock you down. And that says a lot about your team.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, if you drew on a whiteboard, and it doesn't even matter what sport you're talking about, let's say volleyball is blank % mental. You know, what percentage would a coach put in there? They would put some 90, you know, they would put a big number. It wouldn't be 3%. But, you know, what she's saying is when you get beat 25-11 in the state finals and you say, okay, now it's 0-0 again. Okay, we're starting back. It's one of the benefits of our sport. It was like if it was a 5-quarter basketball game, we would have lost. Okay, but after the first set, you know, we start back at 0-0, and I was really impressed with the response. That they came back and you know, to win 25-23 and to make it 1-1 when you're playing to 3 sets, that's a big difference than down 0-2. So, you know, looking at that Rockland game, you know, as a coach and the little number cruncher, excuse me, that I am, I'm looking at them and, we do a lot of stats. And one of our stats is side out percentage. So if you're serving at me, what percentage of the time until I score the point? Okay, and so our average for the year was probably around 55%. Okay, Rockland sided out in that first set at 91%, which is like crazy high.
Wow, that is very high.
I heard their best hitter was averaging around a hitting percentage like around 300. So she hit 585 in the first set. So for me, I'm looking at that and I'm like, I don't think they can sustain that
for the whole time.
For a long, yeah. So if we can make this a long day, they're going to come back more like towards their average, which they did, and we were playing poorly, and we got more closer to our average, and then it became a real fight. So I wasn't too concerned after the first set because I'm like, I don't think they can. They're good, but I don't think they can do that. It's like basketball. You hit 20 shots in a row. Well, you're not going to do that for
the whole game.
The whole game.
Right.
Right.
So good point. Sydney, let's talk about your experience this year, my dear.
So I agree with what everybody said, like working together as a team, but especially just never giving up no matter what happened. And even if that just means telling people around you that we've got it and that we can do this, and just always staying confident.
Olivia, I remember when you first joined the team, there was some big heavy hitters that when you started and stuff, and you sort of had to be one of the big leaders of this team. And I will tell you, the numbers that you put up just blows me away when I'm seeing 40 or 38 or 22 of one that are normally for other kids 12 or 13 or 14. You bring in these big numbers, but I'm going to tell you what. You always, in every sport that you've ever been in, because I've been following you since you were younger, you always seem to be focused in. But this time, you had to be the big leader for this team. And what was it like to be able to take on that role with this group of ladies?
Yeah, so I've always looked up to my older sister Ella, who went through the volleyball program and the softball and basketball program. She really showed me what determination is, and you need focus to get through a game. I mean, I think the reason why I look so focused is because I want to win so bad, and I want my teammates to know that I want to win so bad, and it's going to inspire them. And I think I also talk a lot about confidence, and if you don't fake confidence, then your teammates are going to start to get worried. And I really love being a leader because I want other people to feel comfortable and feel like they can do their best as well. And so I love taking that role in as myself. And when I was in 8th grade and on varsity for the first time, Lauren was starting, and she was this killer outside hitter. And I really looked up to her, and she really showed me what it's like to play hard, play with determination, and be confident, because I think her being so solid in that position made me feel more comfortable and kind of showed me what it's supposed to be like, what you're supposed to do for your teammates.
And it's funny because when you bring up Lauren Davenport, she really is a great leader, and she also is someone that was very solid in volleyball. So you had a good mentor. Well, you know what? I think these younger ladies have a good mentor in you, myself, and that's how I feel about it. And I'm very truthful. I really do. And I think that these ladies are going to get a lot out of what you've been able to give to them. And what's funny is down the road, when you guys are all out on the street and you haven't seen each other for a couple years, or you're running to each other on Thanksgiving weekend or during the holidays or college break or whatever, hopefully you guys will have that time to get together and just be that group of people that you were back in high school. I hope you guys can keep that going. Well, you are one of the newer ones on the team, honey, so let's talk about the big experience that you had this year.
This year, back when I made varsity in August, I just really looked up to all the girls on the team, and they were always helping me, during practice and during games. And I think this year it was really big just to learn about confidence and build your confidence, because at the beginning of the season I would get scared when I had to touch the ball and stuff like that. But now I know you have to call other people off because it's your ball, and even if they're older than you've been playing for longer, you can have confidence and you can do it yourself, and just believing in yourself that you can do it.
Well, as Coach said, you got to lay them out there. Someone's got to be able to cover each territory. It's like they got 9 people on a baseball field, and everybody's got to play a position. There's 5 on a basketball court because they need the 5 players to fill the void around the area of the basket. So there's always a place to be. And the best part about it is that you guys were able to, even during tough times, like that championship day that you guys were going up against Rockland, you guys were able to group it, get yourself regrouped after even a tough loss in that game 1 to be able to come back and be able to walk away as state champions in the 10th championship for Frontier Volleyball. That is pretty special. And 15 in a row for Western Mass. And like Coach said, he's not giving you guys an easy journey, and he'll admit it to you right now, and he's admitting it right to all of us here on TV, that it's not easy. But I'll tell you what, if you look at the end result, it's worth the time. And I hope you all feel that way at the end of the day, you know. I have a question, and I don't know who wants to answer it, but I guess my big question is that I remember a few years back that whenever Amherst came to town, you guys would have like this big whiteout or this big fill the gym deal. Is that still alive with you guys, between you and Amherst?
Yeah, so for some reason, we always had our Pack the House night when Amherst came and played us.
Yes.
And basically, we're just trying to get a lot of fans to come, just create a better culture around volleyball games and try to get more people to come and say, like, hey, this is really fun. And that always happened to be against Amherst, I think partially just because of the timing, but also partially because Amherst is a great team, and whenever we play them, it's really close. I believe we split with them this year, and so that just shows that the game could go either way. It's going to be a really good game, and I think that makes fans more excited. It's not like another game where, you know, we win in 3 sets. It's a tough game, and that makes the volleyball more exciting to watch. And yeah, so hopefully that will happen for years to come, and we're going to try to keep getting fans to come to our games.
I think another really cool thing about us playing against Amherst is like all of us and a lot of people on our team and through our program, we all do off-season volleyball, like during the winter and then during part of spring and then during summer. And during the winter and spring teams, we're put on teams with girls from other schools. And one of the schools that we play a lot with is Amherst.
Perfect.
So we know a lot of those girls, and we're good friends with all of them, and we're good friends with like Longmeadow girls and Westfield girls and Ware girls. And so that's really cool, just being able, when we go and actually play those teams, they're like some of our really close friends that like we're still in touch with. And so when we play against like those teams like Amherst, we're really excited to win because we know them. We played with them all season. And so those games are always just really exciting for us to play. So we try to bring our fans in so they can also join in on that.
That's a great point. That really is. That was perfect. Because that's exactly the truth. Because what people don't realize is that years ago, when me and Coach were playing in sports, we sort of stuck to our own, you know? But then as you guys have all realized now, AAU, suburban, all these different types of sports now have all really opened up to really being valley teams now, you know? Yeah. And so now you get a chance to build relationships with kids from other towns. Yeah, and that's exactly what you guys have done, you know? So.
Yeah, I know I enjoy it. When we go around to play, we know somebody on just about every team, and they've got great friends on several different teams on our schedule. So it's fun. And I get to coach some of our opponents, in the off season, and it's just we're trying to make volleyball better, and these guys are playing in the off season, and I coach some people in the off season that we have to face a couple times across the net, in the fall, and it just makes it fun.
How many of you, raise your hand, have made it to the Volleyball Hall of Fame down the street from where we are? Got a couple? Yeah. There you go. So a couple have made it over. It's funny because people don't realize, but, in Holyoke, Massachusetts is the Volleyball Hall of Fame. It's like right down the street from where we all are. But how many people have really gone there? That's the question. And I have to admit, I have not. But I will say this, though. I have been able to watch some of your video because I think it's wonderful that the FCAT and Chris Collins and them going to doing your games and stuff has been wonderful. And let me tell you, you guys are intense, man. You guys run an intense program over there. And it seems like you guys are all locked in when it comes to game time. It's like, we're all serious now. There's no fooling around, man. It's business as usual. And it's not, and I'm being honest, whether it's a good team or if it's a really good, or if it's a bad team, it doesn't matter. Business is business, and that's how you guys roll. And I like that because you know what? You don't play down to the competition. You got to play at your level all the time. What do you think?
No, I agree. I know I'm all business when it's like the scoreboard is on now. Okay? It's time to play. Okay, these guys will know. Not a lot of extra chit chat. It's like, here's what we're doing, and let's go. I don't know how many of it made it to the actual Hall of Fame. Last year we took the whole team to the induction dinner, where we got to meet some of the Hall of Fame inductees.
Cool. That must have been awesome.
It was awesome. We met a legend from Japan who actually invented the libero position, and Riley got her picture with him.
Oh, cool. That's great.
That's the position she plays.
That's nice, Riley.
Abby fell in love with a guy from Denmark who makes me look short.
Oh, yeah.
So, so it was really cool. And there was a Russian woman there that was getting inducted. So we didn't make it this year, but we have gone in the past, and it's a great experience. And
that's awesome.
My good friend who coaches the Long Meadow team is the executive director at the Hall of Fame down there. So if you need to get in, I got friends in low places that can get you in.
Well, I just want to say, I've just been intrigued over the years just watching this happen. And I'm going to bring something else up, ladies. You're not just the only good team of female sports in the fall at Frontier Regional, because I think Missy Maher does a pretty good job with that field hockey program, wouldn't you think?
Yes, she does.
And I also think that the cross-country team's not so bad with some of the athletes they have there as well, right? So you look back and then you say, look at the guys. They have the cross-country team that did what they did. The football team does what they do. The golf team with Mr. Fitzpatrick and their group of guys. Listen, you got a lot of great athletes at Frontier Regional High School. And boy, it's amazing to me each and every year how the fall sports out of any high school in Franklin County, Frontier reigns supreme. And it's all because of each and every one of you doing the hard work and being the piece of the puzzle to be able to make your teams what they are. And for you guys to be able to bring home your championship, for the Frontier field hockey team to beat Greenfield to go to the championship this year, and for the golf team to have the year they had, the cross-country team winning the championship, man, there's a lot of nice banquets going on down there. Anything that you guys want to share of what is expected if somebody that's a younger kid who's watching this, who wants to join volleyball down the road, what kind of expectation they're going to have to endure? Anybody want to?
Sure.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
I mean, these young kids, there's really no expectations. It's like, try out whatever you want. We have, people who play field hockey and softball and basketball and volleyball. I meet these younger girls who's like, I'm playing all of these sports. I'm like, that's great. Keep going with it. There's no pressure for these kids, I want them to do whatever they love. And I think that's what's most important about sports, is that you're playing it because it's exciting and you're having fun. So I think it's really about focusing in on the drive in these younger kids and what they want to do, what makes them happy, and not putting any extra pressure on them. I think getting younger girls into sports is great for empowerment and teaching them how to be leaders. So I think it's important that we show them that we're building a really good culture here at Frontier of women's sports, so that they'll want to grow up and be like us and be strong female leaders and participate in sports.
I always tell people that sports is important because I've been in sports my whole life. But I also think there's other things that are for everybody as well. And sometimes sports just isn't for people. But I bet you that each and every one of you probably have one friend that probably isn't a sports athlete that's special in your life. And it doesn't matter, and I say this in real life too, we all have different paths that we take in our lives of what we do, but that doesn't mean that me and Coach can't be friends, It's a nice opportunity for all of us to be able to have different people with different visions in our lives. And I imagine you guys go through that each and every day with somebody that's in your family, that you have somebody that's different that doesn't play sports. I know that my family is a big athletic family, but my children themselves are not. My children weren't big athletic kids. They just were not into that. They were into other stuff, which was fine. And I never pushed my kids to be able to be in a position of being something that they're not. And I hope that you guys feel like you're doing it because you want to be here.
Yeah, and another thing about us is So we all play like at least volleyball and like one other sport, but a lot of us have like other hobbies. Like I'm really into theater and like Riley's really into art. And so, you know, volleyball time is like volleyball time, but we all also have like our own hobbies that we just like really enjoy doing, or musical instruments. Like a lot of our team is in band or strings. And so I think that's like a really cool thing, is that we all here because we love what we do, but we also love several other things. You know, we keep up on our schoolwork, and we're just kind of like a very diverse population on our team. And I think that's really cool.
Huge, huge. You know, it's funny because when I was younger, I was a really, really good bowler, and one of the top in the state. And I had a 298 game at the age of 16. Just missed a perfect game, you know? And I got to be honest, guys, I was mad. I got a 298 and I'm mad, you know? I'm like, are you serious, dude? You just pulled a 298, you know? And I was mad because, you know what? I had the fire in the belly of something that I knew I loved and I was passionate about. You're passionate about theater, so you don't want to screw up the lines. You're an artist. You don't want to screw up that one little piece of your precious picture, right? So we all are going to make mistakes in anything we do in life. But the best part about it is that if we can learn from all the little things that we do make mistakes in and make them better, we're going to end up all being successful at the end of the day. And I think that what you did is you ended up knowing at the beginning of the year things were a little rocky. But look what happened. They all learned and they listened and they were coachable. And at the end of the year, you brought home the championship.
Yeah, Rocky, like the Rocky Mountains. Rocky. Yeah. You know, if I can go back to when you mentioned the young girls looking at us, you know, about wanting to play. I think one of the big myths is, you know, they look at us and they say, wow, they just won, you know, the state championship. I'm not that good. I can't play. I can't play on that team. I don't even want to sign up at the sign-up day because I'm not that good. Okay, and then you can ask them what they were like in 7th grade, you know, when they were brand new, and most of them will tell you a pretty honest answer that, you know, they learned to play volleyball here, and they didn't need to be an Olympian in 7th grade to come in here and join our program, and I think it's one of the big myths. So I think I want to get that out there, that you don't have to be really good at volleyball to join volleyball. You know, we teach you how to play, and if you listen to what we try to do and you learn and get better and practice it, you get better at anything you practice, whether it's, you know, music or bowling or volleyball. So
I threw a lot of gutter balls in the beginning.
Oh yeah,
you know,
oh, yeah.
And I did. And you know what? I was not a very good DJ when I first started as a DJ either. I had a lot to learn, you know. And as we all continue to want to get better, as long as we keep practicing, practice usually makes you better. And you even said it yourselves that it was a little bit more of putting a little bit more on each other to try to make yourselves want to be better. And look what the reward was at the end of the year, because when the carrot was sitting there dangling with you guys against Rockland and you were down and you guys went and grabbed that carrot, you guys ended up walking away with the hardware. And the ones that were jumping around going crazy were the girls in red and white. And that's pretty cool, man, and I love it. And I'm psyched because you guys have really done a very magical thing this year. And I think this guy right here is probably the most proudest of all the people, because he saw where you were at when you guys got together in August, when you guys were first getting things together, to where you are in the middle of November.
Yeah, and it's such a big improvement, you know, and we talk every day about, can we just get 1% better today? Can we get 1% better today? And so, you know, if you're 1% better today, and you take that and you add 1% to that, it's like compound interest. It starts to, you know, roll. And I think, you know, these guys, it's one of my sweetest wins this year. And there's been a lot, like you mentioned, a lot of championships and a lot of wins. And this one, with where we started from and what we lost the year before, and then what we were able to accomplish in the fashion that we did it, with some close wins against Rockland. One of my sweetest wins in my career. And I know that, you know, one of them mentioned Westboro. We lost 3 sets by 3 points. In that, sorry, by 2 points each. So by, you know, at that point in the year, we would get there. We would get to 20-20, 22-22, and then the other team just rolls us. Okay, and then, so when we got 3 times that happened on last Saturday, got to 23-23, 23-23, 13-13 with Sydney serving. And, you know, when we got there, we finished it out, which was a lot of growth from the earlier in the season when, you know, we were up 24-20 against Westboro and lost 6 points in a row. I'm thinking, okay, we're going to a fifth set. Nope, it's over. We're not going to fifth set. We just lost 6 points in a row. So, you know, it wasn't always pretty last Saturday, but they don't quit, and there's something to be said for that. They just keep coming at you, and I was very, very proud to be their coach this year.
Any closing remarks? I got 3 more minutes left in the show here. If there's anything that you guys would like to say, or if there's anything that we can be able to look forward to next year that you guys are hoping to sort of start off the summer with, is there anything that you guys would like to share at all? Because I just want to tell you that I'm very proud of all of you. I wish we were able to have the whole team here, but the best part is that we got a lot of you here. And the cool thing is that these people that are watching this today are going to be able to understand what it took to be able to get to Championship Saturday, and the hard work that you had to go through the year, and the bumps that you guys had to take. You had to take a couple licks as it went on. But at the end of the day, when it came down to who's going to end up getting those last couple of points to hit number 25, it was the girls from Frontier Regional, and they got to bring home the hardware, and another wonderful state championship gets to go into the trophy case over there in South Deerfield. And I want to say to each and every one of you, thank you for coming. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. And Coach Sean, it's my first time having you on in all these years, and that's not going to happen again, I promise. And I will tell you, I am looking forward to the basketball season. Hopefully will be able to see you at the gym, because we do the games. I'm looking forward to seeing you. And don't be afraid to say hello, because I'll make sure I say hi to you guys. And I thank you again for being a part of the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, the great volleyball team from Frontier Regional, state champions, Division III. All right. Woo. We're very proud of you. All right, well, that's going to wrap things up for the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. I'm Bobby C. Once again, I want to thank Coach Sean McDonald and all these wonderful ladies for being here. Thank you, Philippe Simone. Thank you, Ian. Thank you, John Meisner, Allie Murphy. You know, we got a great crew here. Thank you to Chris Collins and the folks over at the FCAT, where I know there'll be a lot of people viewing this when we get this out this week. Also, we want to thank all the folks that are carrying this show, including Montague Community Television. Also up in Berniston and Northfield, we're up there as well. And of course, right here at GCTV. Once again, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Ladies, would you like to say a happy Thanksgiving to your family? Go ahead.
Happy Thanksgiving!
All right. Coach Sean, you want to say happy Thanksgiving to your family here?
Happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and thanks again, Bobby.
And on behalf of our crew here, we thank you all. Have yourself a wonderful week, everyone, and please support your local athletes.
Thanks for watching the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report on GCTV. Catch a game, and be sure to join us next time for more sports and fun.